A little bit more on this topic. We've got Sudarshan Jain of Apex Partners joining us, as well as Krishna Prasad of Granules. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us to discuss the opportunity here really going forward. Sudarshan, let me come to you first. What do you make of the API dependence on Indian pharma on China? You know, firstly, issues in Q1, now with the self-reliance theme. How do you think Indian pharma is set to respond to this?
I will say that it is a great time for Indian pharma because first was demonstrated by last 3 months that we have been able to meet the demand both locally and globally. We worked with the government together and made sure that the products are available. Secondly, if we remember clearly, 21st of March, API policy was announced by the government, and this policy has been discussed for last 5 years. But the initiative was taken on 21st March, that was before the announcement of COVID, and that there are two components of the policy, that is the production-linked incentive scheme and the bulk parks. It is a great move of the government, and the details of the policy are expected to be announced in July. It will help us to create healthcare security for the country and also the self-reliance. So we are looking forward to the further details on the policy, and we welcome the move of the government because that's the need of the hour.
Okay, fair enough. Let me also get your view in, Krishna, in terms of how you're looking at the recent developments as well, the dependence that we have traditionally seen on China and how things are likely to change going forward. You know, what are some of the issues before we can actually think about self-reliance in API? Policy support has come, but do you think that there is more that's needed constructively to make this a reality?
The policy has been announced, but basically I've been going through the details. Much more details are invited. However, from what I understand, the government is trying to promote smaller units. They want to distribute the requirement of India into 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 companies, and that will make it small. And going forward, for especially intermediates, I think India needs to focus more on intermediates than APIs. And these intermediates have to be made on scale and with different technologies than what others make. Chinese plants have been set up ages ago, and today India is capable of coming out with better technologies. We as Granules have been doing a lot of research for about 5-6 years on new technologies, green technologies, continuous manufacturing. However, the scale was daunting us and the investments. If you really, let's take a product like a PAP, which is the key intermediate for paracetamol. Entire India is dependent on China, one way or other. There are some companies which make their own PAP, but again, that is from an intermediate where we are mainly dependent on China again. It doesn't really help. You need to go back all the way to benzene if you have to be more efficient. And these type of plants are mostly chemical plants than pharmaceutical plants. Pharmaceutical industry has to learn this type of manufacturing. It's a different ballgame altogether. So scale and investment have been holding us back so far. But however, today we have decided that the time has come. We will go ahead, and I hope the government will change their policy of distributing this into smaller companies. In my opinion, for each product, there should not be more than 2 or 3 companies in the world, and the best wins. And that's how the efficiencies come in. And also, like the previous speaker had said, it's not just India. We need to also spread across. We also have plans of going in for very clean API manufacturing in the Western world. We are working on it. And in the next few years, I think we are going to have exciting times. India is going to have exciting times. India is capable of coming out with these greener technologies, efficient technologies. It's going to be exciting. And with a little push and help from the government, things are going to go smooth.
Right. So, Sudarshan, what is your own sense? You think the policy support is enough, or do you think more needs to be done to try and encourage self-reliance within APIs?
The policy support doesn't really help much. It's a push. That's what we're getting. But just depending on the incentive scheme of the government, I don't think we can set up those high-level, high-volume, continuous manufacturing plants. Industry should put in the money today. And the time has come. Industry has realized we need to do that. And it need not be just the pharmaceutical company which is putting up. There could be tie-ups with other chemical industries. There's so much chemistry capability, chemical engineering capability in India, and we need to tie up with partners and cooperate with each other and set up these type of facilities. One company cannot do all these things. Pharma should stick to pharma and cooperate with somebody else. If we have the technology, pass it on to somebody else, let them do what they are good at, and together we can win.
Sudarshan, my question actually was for you. Why don't you take that up?
Sorry, whom was that for? I'm sorry, the line was not clear.
No, just wanted to know about whether policy support is enough, or you think more needs to be done from the government's end to try and push self-reliance in APIs.
Was that for me, for Krishna Prasad, or for Mr. Jain?
I can respond to that.
Mr. Jain, Sudarshan Jain, for you.
Okay. So policy support is only one dimension of the whole thing. As Mr. Prasad was saying, it is catalyst. But at the end of the day, the entrepreneurship has to come into the picture. At the end of the day, large scale, the point which is being made, if we have to compete today in the world, we cannot talk of minimum scale. We have to talk of world-class scale, world-class technology. And the policy environment provides that kind of support. We are also talking that the time of clearance which was taking place in India, whether it is environmental clearance, whether it is land clearance, whether it is power clearance, that has been an issue in many parts of the country. So what the government is saying, they will create one-point shop, one-point area where there will be faster clearance, which has been the major bottleneck. So the execution system, the environmental ecosystem, that will also become very, very important. And the policy is only the starting point. It is a realization that we can't be left behind. We have to move forward. We are great as far as branded formulation business is concerned. We control 20% of the world market. But unless we are integrated with the APIs, and the point which Prasad Saab was saying is the KPIs, which become very, very important. It has to be total vertical integration. So it is a starting point to go ahead. And it is just the beginning at the moment. Long way to go. China has built that expertise. Europe is talking about it. US is talking about it at this particular moment. We have to move fast, and we have to move fast in a mission mode to get going forward.
1 month, we'll have to wait one.
Right. Sudarshan, wanted to get in your view as well on going forward, if you think some of the the big plants of APIs are invested. So what are the supply opportunities that you foresee that could come up in the export market?
One of the points which I've been making is at the moment, this incentive scheme is being talked only for domestic market. So what we have made as a recommendation that we should think not only of domestic market, but we have to think of global market. And the plants have to be created that way that we start gaining dominance in a global scale. And that point becomes very, very important. The successful example is Granules, what Mr. Prasad was talking about. DVs have been talking about that whatever areas we choose, we have to think of scale. We have to think of latest technology. We have to think of constantly upgrading the technology, because scale and cost and technology is very, very important, and speed is very, very important in this area. So the policy will be the starting point. The ecosystem will be worked around it. And the way we have seen the government last 3 months, if we take the learning forward from here, that everyone has to work in an integrated way with the mission that we have to get reliance in API, because if we don't do it, we will always caught up in the turbulence of consistent supply. As we faced with paracetamol for some period of time, now we are having with Chinese supply at this moment of time. So we have to get reliance. And it will not happen in 1 year, 2 year time. It will take 3, 5, 6 years.
Okay, that same question then I'm going to put it forward to you. Could you give us a view, Krishna, as to what the outlook is in terms of the supply opportunities as well as exports?
There's tremendous opportunity today. And again, if we invest into the right technologies, cost-wise too, we will be better than what we had been in the past. The only issue is CapEx. Once we overcome the CapEx, the returns are going to be good. And the outlook is very, very bright. And again, I have to warn everybody here, if we don't move fast as in Indian industry and as a country, it's not competition from China. It's going to be competition from the West. France is going to set up plants, Italy will set up plants, even APIs and some intermediates. So we need to move fast. And outlook, like I said, is very exciting. And there are exciting times ahead as long as we are nimble-footed and we move fast. And government support is needed, but just depending on government support to do this is not going to work.
Thanks so much, gentlemen, for sharing with us your outlook on the API sector, how things are shaping up, the kind of movement now from dependence from China to perhaps bringing up more opportunity in India. That's the word coming in from the management of Granules, as well as a word from Abbott Healthcare.